get to what's important. With us this evening is the people that are running for mayor. 3 of the 4 candidates that are qualified are here. 1 could not make it and declined to be here, but the others are here. Miss Joyce Burgess is here with us this evening. Mr. Darnell Waits is here with us this evening, and Mr. Leroy Davis. A round of applause for all 3 of them, please, from our live studio audience. Yes, indeed. Let's tell you, I feel like Alex Trebek. No, okay. All right, let's get to some serious questions, and we will, but first we're going to give each candidate 2 minutes for opening statements and comments. So, Joyce, we'd like to start with you, if you would. You have 2 minutes. The floor is yours.
Sure. Good evening, and first of all, I want to say thank you, Dr. Fry and Me TV staff for inviting me to participate in this live debate. I've been a resident of Baker for 35 years. I'm married to my high school sweetheart and for almost 40 years, and we have 5 children. We have 2 older sons, 3 daughters, as well as many more daughters and sons. I'm a graduate of Capital Senior High School. I attended Southern University where I studied English. I worked for Blue Cross Blue Shield as an executive administrator for nearly 10 years. I'm active in my local church. My background is in education, of which I have served for 30 years. I was a nominee for the Excellence in Education Award to the Louisiana Legislative Women's Caucus. I served as a contributor with the White House Initiative on African American Education under the Obama administration, and I'm a national speaker on educational issues. I serve now as an active council member with the City of Baker. I also served as Mayor Pro Tem. As the Mayor of Baker, I will work tirelessly to make Baker an inviting place to raise a family. We raised our family here, and it was very important to us as a community, as a family rather. One of my prime responsibilities as an ambassador of this city will be to attract new businesses that will create jobs for our people, but also remembering that our local businesses here, to be sure that we offer them the same incentive packages and proposals as new businesses. I just want to be sure that our local businesses have the same opportunities as new businesses. I want to invite young families to live in the City of Baker by partnering with real estate marketers to host seminars and workshops that would educate young families about buying a home here in Baker. Overall, I plan to initiate a comprehensive and strategic plan for our city so that we can progress the City of Baker and make it an inviting place to live. City of Baker, it's time to progress.
Thank you, Joyce. All right, let's give Mr. Darnell Waits. You have 2 minutes, sir.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and thank you again, Mr. Fry, for having us here tonight. My name is Darnell Waits, and I am originally from Jacksonville, Florida. I graduated from Andrew Jackson High School in Jacksonville, Florida, and in 1980, I joined the military. So for the past 27 years, I was in the military, United States Army. I've traveled all over the country, and I got to Baker about 15 years ago. I got married again and married a beautiful young lady here, fell in love with the place, and that's how I got here to Baker, and I just started going to work here. After being here for a little while, I was in business for myself, and then I began to do some volunteer work at the high school. And then I started long-term substitute teaching at the high school, where I was PTO president, Booster Club president, part of the Baker Backers, and I was the assistant basketball coach and the head coach for the junior varsity team. I presently serve now as the president of the Chamber of Commerce, and I am the administrative officer to the mayor for the City of Baker. And as your mayor, my primary goal is to aggressively work economic development and to bring the city together, to break the divide that we have, bring the parties together, and let's get something done.
Thank you, Darnell. I appreciate it. And finally, Mr. Leroy Davis.
Thank you, Dr. Fry, and to the viewing audience, those who are in the studios and those who are in their homes and those who are streaming online. I thank you for watching and for Bethany World Prayer Center for putting on this event. I am a PhD from the University of Illinois, and I am an economist that's internationally and nationally known. and I've published and taught students and served people all my life. I've been a dean and professor at Southern University. I am a lifelong Democrat and a 39-year resident of Baker. I raised my children here. I built my home here. I've invested here. And I served as council 3 times, elected and appointed once. And each time I served as chair of the council. I served as mayor for 3.5 years. And during that time, we brought in the Walmart Supercenter. We developed subdivisions. We developed streets and roads and built infrastructure. And we left a budget deficit, surplus of $14 million in surplus. And while giving raises to all of our city employees and developing salary schedules for the fire and police, brought in the first new fire truck in 30 years, introduced to the legislature the bill that led to the building of a new fire station, and numerous and other sundry activities we perform. And we will do that again and even make it better the second time around.
Thank you. Okay, we have a series of questions that were presented from our viewers on Twitter and on Facebook, and we are going to jump into those at this moment. Okay, first of all, what do you consider to be the main responsibility of the Baker mayor? What is job number 1? Darnell?
Job number 1 is communication and leadership. As the mayor of the city, you have to be able to communicate your vision to the people of the city and to the people that work in the city. And that is very, very important to get people involved in the vision and where you want to go. And in order to do that, you need to bring people together from all over the city, not just groups. You need to bring everybody together, get their input, and then you make a decision on where you're going. Because people don't understand your vision until you communicate that. So communication is a big key. And I plan to do that by use of social media and other avenues that let people understand where the city is going and where we're going to be. And by doing that, we set those goals together. And that's bringing the leaders together. It's a grassroots move where we bring people together to do that.
Thank you. Joyce, 1 minute for the same questions. What do you consider to be the main responsibility of the Baker mayor?
I consider the main responsibility of the Baker mayor, of course, leadership. Everything, absolutely everything, rises and falls on leadership. Successful leadership is when one can see the vision and then transmit that vision to their people, and then rally those people to want to participate in that vision. Other roles and responsibilities include managing and promoting positive, and I want to add this in, positive and peaceful relationships with employees, with the staff, elected officials of the city, modeling good governance, having a strong, strengthful governance, and the mayor must be a good community leader as well as a good spokesman.
Thank you.
Spokesperson, rather.
Leroy?
First of all, the city of Baker is a home rule charter city, and the mayor is guided by the charter. His responsibility to delineate that. He is the CEO of all of the departments, including the police department is headed by the chief, the fire department is headed by the chief, including the public works department headed by director, including the utilities department. We have 3 utilities. So the mayor's job is to manage those resources, protect the finance, do the enforcement. The council makes the policy. The mayor is the enforcement officer and delivers services to the people in every way possible. So the mayor is the head of the enterprise. He is the corporate executive. So he has to look out for that, particularly managing the finances and managing the enterprise and the people. That's his responsibility, or her responsibility.
Thank you, sir. You all feel free to clap or ooh and ah whenever you want to back there. I think you're doing a great job up here. All right, a lot of people say that the mayor's position is really to be the salesman of the city. What experience do you have or have had in marketing a city? Or what plans would you have to market the city of Baker? Ms. Burgess, we'll start with you.
One of my primary responsibilities while serving as a council person has been to act as an ambassador for the city of Baker. I've represented our city before businesses. I've met state legislators about proposals and problems and legislative issues that relate to our city. I've met with state economic development authority to ensure that our city's shovel-ready status is still in the queue for business expansions. I've also met with parish leaders regarding Baker's regional expanse or the relocating of businesses into our region. However, once again, maintaining our local businesses, owners, is very important because I want them to be involved in the decision-making process of whatever we do as it relates to expanding the city of Baker.
Well said, thank you. Darnell, your response.
Actually, what Ms. Burgess is talking about is absolutely what the Chamber of Commerce is all about. And 2 years ago, when I took over as the president of the Chamber of Commerce, that was the main focus, was to bring the businesses in Baker together. And bring it, we had to strengthen that up because without those businesses here, we don't have a city. So that was the weak link. And if you want to market the city, your Chamber of Commerce has to be strong. So that was the main deal. So we made a lot of changes there to make sure that we could market the city better. When we're talking about shovel ready was an idea that was brought to us by the Baton Rouge Chamber of Commerce. That's another partnership that we built in the last couple of years where the Chamber of Commerce is paying a lot of attention to Baker and the cities in this area. And we went out and we actively looked at property and land that were here in Baker that could be shovel ready, which means that if a person comes into East Baton Rouge Parish and they're looking for somewhere to put their business up, they will see that land. It will be sitting in Baker, and they'll be able to come in and put their business and start their business here through the Chamber of Commerce and the Baker Chamber of Commerce.
Thank you. Leroy Davis, your response to the question.
First of all, my PhD is in marketing. I'm a marketing specialist and I consult in marketing. And the first thing is that we had an Economic Development Commission, which was my idea, implemented by Mayor Heine and my councilman, Jim Hill. And we brought in businesses, we brought in the hotel. The Walmart Supercenter was my own personal marketing with the Walmart Corporation and the National Mayor's Conference. And when I was in mayor, I also had a housing conference in Baker, brought in developers, brought in contractors, brought in insurance people, and we sold 250 houses in 2 months. And the Chief Gotro's wife sold 6 houses the day we did the marketing. And so I am a marketing specialist, and we need to reinstitute the Economic Development Commission. We need to have fairs and festivals to market our city.
Thank you. Now we have some questions that are coming in off of Twitter and Facebook, and some of the questions we gave to you all so you can prepare. These questions we won't force you to answer. If you'd like to answer the question or take a first turn at it, then everyone else would have a chance to also chime in on how they feel about the particular item that has been submitted by our viewers. So we will we'll put 1 minute on the clock for this one, and if the first person that wants to take it just chime in, we will give everybody else a chance to answer. It says here, how would you upgrade the current sewer, water, and gas systems, and how would you fund these improvements in the city of Baker? Go ahead, Joyce.
You know, the conversation has begun about the possibility of a new sewer system for the city of Baker. And of course, you know, that would entail investigating, you know, how we can actually fund a new sewer system. But just to put the word out there, that is a conversation that has come up.
Anyone else?
Well, let me say that we have a half-cent sales tax. that Baker gets, and there's reserve money in there, and these monies have been used for various and sundry reasons, but we need to reinvest some of that money into the infrastructure, which we can do. And like the mayor of Baton Rouge did, he had his green light project, which really was that half-cent sales tax, and he got it advanced for future years and did a bond issue. So what I would do would get the same type of program going, get it advanced for future years, and then pay it off with the sales tax we already have, the half-cent sales tax, and wouldn't cost the citizens any money. In the meantime, we improve our infrastructure and we'll pay for it, but a half-cent sales tax, and we will pay for it gradually, and it can be done because it's being done in Baton Rouge, and the green light is just a half-cent sales tax. So we can do it the same way.
Understand?
If that was just as easy as you say it is, then it would have been done before. The possibility, it's a great idea, but the deal is if you don't want to put that cost on the citizens, yeah, you use grants and you use bonds, but we already have an ongoing infrastructure planning in place where we over the last 4 or 5 years, we've replaced millions of dollars worth of pipes and everything. You would have to take a look at this and see when you're talking about a sewage deal. Do you want to go into a sewage business? Do Baker wants to take on, sewage and do this? But we do have, this turns into, well, you have to have a plan to do this and then find out where you can, save the citizens from paying for this over a long period of time.
I understand. 30 seconds to rebuttal.
You know, the
Joyce,
half
you
I
go
cent-
think
first.
I was
the half cent-
mentioned.
You're going to go next. I'll let her.
Okay.
She
Thank
had
you.
her hand up first. Go ahead,
Thank you.
Joyce.
The half-cent sales tax is a designated sales tax. So at this time, to say that that could be diverted elsewhere is probably not a wise thing to say. However, we can explore capital assets, we can explore grants, but the conversation can begin as it relates to a possible sewage system right here in the city of Baker.
There's some confusion. We have two half-cent sales tax. We have a half-cent sales tax to support fire and police salaries and infrastructure and so on. Then we have a half-cent sales tax for the parish that everybody pays. The half-cent sales tax not paid by the citizen. You drive through Baker, you buy anything, you pay the half-cent sales tax. So most of the people shop at a Walmart don't live in Baker. So Baker citizens are not paying any tax. And it can be done because it was done by Mayor Kip Holland, green light. Green light is that same tax.
Thank you, sir. All right. What specific budget issues will you change if elected? Joyce, we'll start with you. 1 minute.
Well, it's interesting because the first conversation about budget, which definitely needs to be changed, is our finance department. The biggest challenge we have is the budget. One of the things that we've done is we've appointed an auditor where our finance department is concerned. And I just say it's time to get our house together. We cannot continue to function if we do not know the real numbers. If we're going to be a city of integrity and professionalism and respect in our region, then our city must handle our fiduciary responsibility. For example, due to a lack of proficiency in our finance department, our council does not receive consistent and timely monthly budget statements. We do not know the real numbers. So the council has operated under unclear budget reports. It's time to get real. And I will require finance department to operate professionally and efficiently to bring about accountability and transparency.
Thank you, Joyce. Darnell.
Well, in the last 2 years, we have not been shut down by state government. We do have some procedural issues. Like any other organization has, you want to make sure that your policies are done right. We balanced the budget in the last 2 years, both times, 2 years in a row, we've had a balanced budget. We've been able to do that. when it comes to the auditor really doesn't have a lot to do with the budget process. That's a whole different deal. And because we've had two different auditors in the last 3 years who come in and they ask for different things, that causes a lot of chaos within that organization. So when it comes to the budget, we'll do it just like we did this year. We'll bring the departments in and we'll talk about what you need and we'll balance that budget. And that's what the law says we need to do, have a balanced budget.
Thank you. Leroy?
First of all, from the record standpoint, you need stability in the finance and the utilities department. You need a CPA. So I bring in a CPA, set up various procedures, but I would also manage the budget in a way that would reduce surpluses. There's some fat that we can cut because I did it before. I added $1 million each year, each 3 years I was mayor, to the savings project and generated money that could be used for salaries and for other operational expenses. You don't need to keep taking the principal and spending the principal. The $14 million, the principal was spent. So therefore, you don't have any money coming in from the investment. And so I would have a good investment program. They're safe investments where we can earn as much as 8 to 10% on our investment and use that money to pay operating costs rather than keep spending down the principal and then getting yourself in a deficit situation.
I think I would like to have whatever it is to make 10% of my money. How about anybody else?
I can talk to me after this session. I'll tell you what to do.
Darnell,
Talk to me.
I
I work
first 30 seconds for rebuttal. Go ahead.
But here's the deal. Here's the deal on that. When we had the money, the extra money that we had, every year to balance the budget, we took the surplus to balance the budget. And that's how you ran the surplus down. But when the surplus got low, everybody got into a panic. And what we did is, I said, look, we're gonna balance the budget. So we started cutting that. We started talking about this 2 years ago. We cut it down and we balanced it, and we did not lose any service at all.
Thank you. Joyce, your 30 seconds.
You know, as mayor, I will hire professionals, CPAs. In reference to auditing, you know, we have state laws that we need to comply. And our city has not necessarily complied to those regulations. And you know, I would challenge Mr. Davis to, you know, I've heard about the $14 million. You know, I would like to see that on paper, you know, that we did have $14 million in the years that he was mayor.
Okay, I imagine he's about to give you that paper.
Here it is.
There you go.
Legislative Auditor, June 30, Legislative Audit Finance, 2004. Okay, so here it is. Here it is right on paper. And you can pull it up online. Just go to the Legislative Auditor, go to the City of Baker, go to the audit, and you put it up, and you can get the whole audit.
You know,
It's there.
I still challenge that simply because, you know, I see what's written in type, but I also see what's written on the side in pencil. Now, who's to say that that is something that the state legislative auditors actually put in? You know, so I challenge that.
But this is my point. That was in 2004. We're
Right.
talking about $14 million, almost 10 years ago. What good is that going to do today? Is that going to do anything for us today that we saved that $14 million? No. The deal is that we had a balanced budget in 2014 and we had a balanced budget in 2015.
Okay,
Let's
we're
move
gonna,
on.
we're gonna move on, but I want your last.
I'm just
30
gonna
second
say
rebuttal since
those
she
figures,
mentioned you.
those figures are just adding up the monies that were there. Those figures, and you can add them yourself and see if those figures are correct,
Okay.
and they are correct.
All right, let's move on to another subject, blight. Baker has a very elevated blight in the area. You drive around town, you see a lot of abandoned buildings, abandoned properties that are just look terrible. What steps can you take or will you institute to help clean up the blight in Baker? Darnell?
We've already started those steps. We went out and we talked to code enforcement, and we had the code enforcement go out and write down every house that looked blight or had high grass. We did that originally. Then we came back and we started talking to a company by the name of Lamette to try to figure out how to get people to take care of their properties. and not incur costs. And that's it was a big, huge deal that we started. We took that list and we just started calling those people that own those properties. And if you ride around in those districts, some of those buildings have been there for years. This hadn't started. That blight has been there for at least 10 to 15 years where nobody has really done anything about that blight. So this company that we're contracted with, Lametz, is going to help us through the legal process to get people to take care of that blight, clean that blight up, bring investors in, put houses there, and build those neighborhoods back up.
Thank you. Anyone else like to address that question?
Pretty much the council has already passed an ordinance that will clean up blight. And with our city, when you drive through it in some areas, it can be an eyesore. And so, having said that, we passed the ordinance to clean up blight, but it's still going to take some time because even with the list that we received, you have to go to these places to make sure that it's not someone's home. I spent about a week ago, I spent time just going to these places that were on the list to make sure that it wasn't just an abandoned house, but I found where it was someone's home. So having said that, we passed the ordinance and it does give us the opportunity to begin the steps to clean the city up.
Understand. Would you like to address the blight?
Yes, a lot of the blighted properties are absentee landowners. And so we would have a more aggressive legal action to get those people to come and either sell their properties or improve their properties, and it's a matter of code enforcement. So we may end up having to do a more aggressive code enforcement. We lost one of our staff members, and we're hiring somebody part-time from Zachary, so who was the person in Zachary. So I would bring back that person and put that position back in Baker and improve the blighted situation.
Okay. Yes, Darnell, you have 30 seconds rebuttal.
Okay, we're talking about budget, but it sounds like that we're building a bigger government here. We're bringing in CPAs, now we're bringing back. We're in an intergovernmental contract with an inspector that's 10 minutes away. So if he can come in and do and inspect and do what he can do here, he can do in both cities. But he has nothing to do with code enforcement. What we have is a guy that's designated to go around and look at those blighted properties. And yeah, the council approved that ordinance, but that was an issue that came from the city. That was from research and us going around. If you get in your district sometime, you'll find out there's a lot of blight. Last week was too late to get out there and look at that blight.
Okay.
Joyce,
you want to rebuttal? 30
sure,
seconds.
Sure, I do. We're talking about our budget and we're talking about hiring specialists to do the job that needs to be done. We're going to have to look at the budget and we're going to have to see where the monies are being spent wisely. And I think that the image of our city is important enough to hire somebody that is full-time, that will take a look at our city and make sure that our city continues to look good and not be the eyesore that it is, especially on Groom Road, especially on Highway 19, the main thoroughfares of our city where people come every day. And so it's important that we hire someone as a mayor, to actually investigate that and make sure that everything's cleaned up.
Thank you. Let's move on to another question. This is from Tammy on Twitter. She says 35% of southeast portion of the city is drained through Bozeman Creek, White's Bayou, and the Comeet, which all belong to the city parish. What would you do to get them cleaned out and draining properly? Anyone want to tackle that one?
First of all, let me try. Some of the drainage areas is owned by the state, some drainage is owned by the parish, and some is owned by Baker. So we had to bring all three entities together to solve that problem. Sit around the table like we did when I was mayor, and we got that done. We got ditches cleaned, we got trees cut, we had some abatement on the canal. You can go see that. We brought in the Corps of Engineers. You can go over there by Leland. You see those chopped up area. You don't see smooth concrete. That was done through our Congressman, Richard Baker, when I was mayor, and nothing has been done since. So we've used those assets and entities to get it fixed.
Okay, thank you. Darnell?
Mr. Davis, Dr. Davis, that's a good idea, and that's what we've been doing. The deal is that the parish, they have limited resources. Now, they have cut down their staff. They're doing more with less, just like everybody else. So they can't get to those places to clean them up. We're in constant contact with our Metro Councilman. We call the numbers. We've done everything that Dr. Davis talked about to do that. And I mean, that's what you can continue to do until they come out. We make sure that what we're responsible for, that we take care of, but the only thing you can do is continue to get that push to come out. And they do come out, but they need to come out more.
Okay, Joyce, you're first.
One of the things that I've seen in our community is the citizens and how the citizens have just come out to express their concerns regarding drainage as well as other issues. But once again, we are a region and we work with our parish, and so we bring this to the table and we have this conversation. But so far as our citizens are concerned, it's been great to see them bring these issues to us. And it goes to show you that, people are tired, that we can't look to the past and we can't stay in the present. So we must progress, and it requires someone fresh and someone new like me to be the mayor of the city of Baker.
Well, I think flooding is on everybody's mind, especially this week. But
let me just say that the Metro Council and the mayor's office are facing an election coming up. And usually the way you get things done during an election season. So I'm pretty sure that those Metro Council persons who represent Baker will be much willing to do something since they're facing an election and the people in Baker vote for them. So they're gonna come on board and do something during that time after they qualify, even before they qualify, if they know that that particular issue has been vetted and they have been properly brought to the table. They will do it.
Okay. All right, let's move on to another issue here. If elected mayor, this came from a girl named Cindy on Twitter. If elected mayor, what do you hope to accomplish in your first year? What is the first thing that you want to get accomplished in your first year? What's your major accomplishment? Who wants to go first? All right, Joyce, go ahead.
In my first year as mayor, I plan to revamp our finance department, a total overhaul, to clean up the city. I want to create policies and regulations that will ensure professionalism and accuracy in every department of our city and our staff. Because we are role models as leaders, we just can't take for granted, that we got ourselves here. People actually elected us here. I plan to initiate a mayor's youth council where we can train our young people to become the next leaders of our city. I plan to institute a mayor's state of the city address twice a year, as well as quarterly town hall meetings within the districts. I want to continue the partnership and relationship with the educational system as I've been doing. I would like to continue to host seminars and workshops for first-time buyers so that families can bring their children here and raise them. I want to continue to forge a relationship with the city employees, the elected officials, and the community. We want to continue our discussion about the North Baton Rouge expansion here in the city of Baker, and I want to do so much more. The possibilities are endless. We want to move our city toward progressing so that people will see that we are a business-friendly town.
Thank you. Darnell?
Well, really, really nice, but the last time that you revamped, it cost the city $250,000. But moving on to what in the first year, I want to aggressively attack economic development, and I want to clean up the neighborhoods. We want to continue doing what we're doing. Nobody is going to come to the city until we clean it up. And we just heard that the way it looks, and we have to clean it up. We have to continue to do that. That's not going to cost a lot of money. We keep using the systems and the programs that we already have in place to clean it up. Highway 19, we have a Main Street Association that we need to bring back so we can get that where we can get that fixed up. We need to clean up the neighborhoods so people continue to start coming back and living in the neighborhood. We have a safe environment here, so we need to do that, aggressively attack that. And then we need to find programs for our young kids. We need to be able to find those programs and find places and things for them to do here in the city of Baker.
Thank you. Leroy, we'll let you take the question.
Okay, the first thing I would do is get the audit done on time and in on time. We still don't have our audit yet, so we don't know where our finances are in this city. Then I stabilize the finance department with CPA. I may have to get some additional resources to do that, but there are resources out there. I'd also improve our infrastructure, particularly things like cleaning up ditches and improving drainage. There's a lot of debris in these pipes out here, and all we got to do is move it, get with the Metro Council, and which be a new Metro Council, and get these things done. And also have economic development grow the budget in terms of revenues from economic growth, not from adding expenditures, but economic growth.
Your 30-second rebuttal?
You know, sometimes you have to spend money to actually get things in order, and especially if we spend the money wisely. And where the budget, where the audit is concerned, you're right. Our audit is still not on time, and so that's been because, you know, of the financial records and the bank records not matching with each other. And so having to reach out and hire professionals to come in and take care of our budgets and take care of our audit rather, has been a wise thing to do. It's been a fresh thing to do because it's gotten our finance department on target to move forward.
Yes, Darnell.
What we're doing, and let's be honest, what we're doing in finance, you cannot fix that overnight. That's been years of things done wrong.
Exactly.
So if you can continue to spend a lot of money doing it. All it is procedures and policies. You bring people in, you train them how to do it, and you do it right. And that's the deal. We don't have a lot of money to be spending a lot of money bringing people in doing this. You know, I'm here, we're going back and forth here.
Okay.
Are we trimming it down or are we building it up?
I understand. Okay, I think we beat this horse enough. Let's move on to something that everybody in the room is concerned with that owns a house, and that is your insurance on your homes. If Baker is not able to maintain a Class 2 fire rating, we're all going to pay a lot more for insurance. What actions would you take to maintain a Class 2 fire rating now that we've cut the budgets and had to lay off people at the fire department, things of that nature? What actions would you take to maintain a Class 2 fire rating that you could do? This comes in from Bobby on Twitter. Who would like to take it first?
Let me say that before the state changes your rating, they give you a report. That report is presented to the mayor. It's also presented to the fire chief. And there's a list of things you have to do. And then you have 6 months to do that improvement. So that hasn't been done to my knowledge. If it is, it hadn't been made public. That there's no danger of Baker's fire rating being reduced, to my knowledge. Now, maybe somebody has something they know. If they do, then it needs to be stated. But there is a process by which you can do. You have state people, the state fire marshal, you have state officials that come in and they sit with you and they work with you. And we got people in this room right here that know that process and know how it works, and we just bring them to the table and let them help us.
Anyone else want to address that?
I just want to pretty much add to that. We have a fire chief that stays on top of things, and of course he, you know, works with the administration. And so far as our fire rating, you know, we've been able to maintain that. He's kept us abreast on how to maintain that. So it's been a good thing. We still maintain our Class 2 rating, and it is public because, you know, we've discussed it in council meetings and previous council meetings. So it's been public.
I do agree with both of my friends here. But the way to do that is as you budget, as you work your budget, and you work throughout the year. You can't wait till the last minute to worry about the rating. The rating is important all the time. So as you look at the money that you're spending, the personnel that you have, all that comes into play, the kind of equipment that you have. When you do that budget, that has to be done in that budget, and you looking a year out at that rating to make sure when you're budgeting now that that rating is going to be a 2. I think that rating would be the goal. That 2 rating or higher would be the goal of anybody sitting up front right now. That's a no-brainer.
All right, let's move on to something that the area is not immune to, and that would be the possibility of a major disaster. How would you as mayor prepare for a major disaster, and as a result of major destruction to the city of Baker, what would you do to help clean up the city and get it back in order?
We have had major disasters in the past, and I must say that the city of Baker is set very well so far as homeland is concerned, so far as our emergency preparedness is concerned. It's there within our fire department, and we've cleaned up the city. It does take time through major disasters, but I can say that the city of Baker, thus far, especially with Hurricane Katrina, that we responded very well to major disasters, and pretty much keeping in with what we've already done is a good thing. And I don't foresee, other than just maintaining and making sure that we get grants and that we get our capital outlay funding, but maintaining where we are and how we responded to emergency disasters. I think we've done a great job.
Okay. Anyone else?
That's a hard question because you don't know at this point what you're facing. The only thing that you can do is to make sure that you follow the guidelines from the state and the parish, because when those disasters happen, it's a cooperation between the city of Baker, the East Baton Rouge Parish. It's a lot of different services that go on with that, emergency services. So you just have to stay update with that, because you don't know. Different disasters require different types of responses. So you just have to make sure that your public service people, your police chief or your fire chief, your public service people, all those people are involved, that they go to the meetings that the parish has down, they go to the trainings that the parish have, so we'll know what we need when the time comes.
Leroy?
First of all, we have a great team of first responders, and they are prepared. You just meet with the two chiefs and their staff, and you prepare and you do a plan. You do a local plan. There is a parish plan. There's a parish office. There's the governor's office, and then there's FEMA. There's the federal people. So with all of those people in there, and I went through 2 major storms when I was mayor, and we handled it just fine. I got out there myself with my rain boots on, my raincoat, and I went street by street and called in the emergency people, the power people, and I'm hands-on with that. So I be in the street with the people on those emergencies.
Thank you.
Personally.
In the last 5 years that I've been here, Baker seems to always make the newspapers and the evening news with its battles between the mayor and its council. As a newly elected mayor, how would you work with the council for the betterment of Baker and better cooperation? Joyce?
Change is not easy, and people are afraid of change. And so whenever there's a new council or if there's a new mayor, there's going to be some tossing and turning. But it doesn't mean that we're divided. It simply means that we're bringing out these issues to make sure that we come together and unified and we settle that. One of the things as mayor I would like to, as mayor, is to work with my council, is to give them responsibilities, because I know what it's like as a new council member, to want to be involved, to want to participate in the everyday activities of the community, especially, being that my people elected me. You want to serve them and you want to care for them. So giving council members an opportunity to really be involved, to serve their community, to serve the people who elected them, and then work with them, and then train them too, because sometimes council members come and they really don't have an idea of how to run government. But as a mayor, you take time and you train those people because people elected them.
Okay. Leroy?
The key is the home rule charter. And I would advise every new leader to study and read the home rule charter in a code of ordinances, because there's very defined lines of demarcation between what's the mayor's responsibility and the council. And sometimes that get crossed up. I go to council meeting, I hear people talk about enforcement. Enforcement is the mayor and his staff. The council makes ordinances, set policies, or do resolutions. And so once you stay in your lane, you stay in your domain, and there would be no jaded lines of communication at all. And I don't see that happening, because we're gonna have new council members, I think, and we're gonna have a new mayor, I know. So I don't see that being a major issue in the future.
Darnell?
He said it the best. I mean, you have to learn how to stay in your lane and what's your responsibility. The charter is the key behind it. And what we did in the last couple of years when we were going through all of that, when I came in as administrative officer, I became the liaison between the councilman and the city of Baker. And those problems, instead of being played out in front during the council meeting, were played out in my office or on the phone. And we handled that better because as long as we're in front of the TV cameras, fighting and fussing, investors out there saying, I don't want to come here. People don't want to bring their businesses here. So if everybody's staying in their lane and understand their responsibilities, we'll be all right. Now, will we have some differences? We surely will. But as adults and professionals, that's the way we should act. And the other thing is we need to humble ourselves and understand that, yeah, the people put us here, but we're servants, and that's all we are.
Thank you. Rebuttal, 30 seconds. Joyce?
It's not necessarily a rebuttal. It's just more or less a respect, respectability and professionalism, when we're before the public. And yes, we can talk about things not necessarily at a council meeting, but yet and still we do have our specific roles and we should all stay in our lanes. But still, overall, it's kindness and it's respect that should be shown as professionals.
All right, moving on. We're not going to pull your financial statements or your credit card statements and see if you actually do shop Baker first. But it is important in your new role as mayor to support the city first and to shop Baker first. And I personally would like to know, in your position and spending the city's money and shopping local for all the things that the city needs first, and you personally and your family, what do you feel the importance of that is as a leader of the city? Joyce?
I feel it's very important. I'm in Walmart at least 6 days a week. And Walmart is pretty much, I'm spending money there. I'm spending money pretty much all over the city. I actually love walking. Baker is a walkable community. It's a cycling community. I absolutely love spending money in the city of Baker. I love spending money. And Walmart is just my favorite place to be. I'm in Walmart anywhere from 2 to 3 hours, interacting with people, spending money, enjoying the process. We have a beautiful, charming community here, and it's great to go out and about in the city of Baker, and that's what I want people to experience. I think about people driving through Baker on Highway 19 and on Plank Road. We have 80,000 cars every day going through. And like while we're here as citizens, we're spending money, but we also want to invite those people from the surrounding areas, Baton Rouge, Zachary, Central, if you're going to Ethel, Slaughter, to spend money here in Baker too, because it's fun to spend money. In the city.
As the chamber president,
Excuse me.
we brought back our old, it had been out before and we brought it back. I thought it was a great idea to shop Baker at program, the campaign, and we had the pins and we did it all. But we realized that in a leadership position as the mayor, you have to lead by the front. So in my campaign right now, everything that you see on those highways, every sign that you see, that's Baker. Everything was done in Baker, from my push cards, from all the signs that I have in Baker. And I try to use Baker. If they have it, I'll try to use it. And if they don't have it, we'll make them order it. So you lead from the front. You can't talk about economic development if you're not part of the chamber. If you're not a chamber member, how can you talk about economic development and be the mayor? If you're not spending your money on your campaign in Baker, how can you talk about economic development and shop Baker? That's all I'm saying.
Leroy?
Well, I shop Baker 7 days a week. And my wife will tell you that she shops clothes, but I shop everything else. And buying gas and Baker. And I will drive 20 miles to come to Baker and buy my gas. But there's one issue that we're going to have to deal with, and that is our traffic cameras. I talk to people every day in this parish that's afraid they won't drive through Baker because they're afraid they're going to get caught on the camera.
But that's our way of getting them to come back, isn't it?
They come back, but then they're not here long enough to pay the thing. But I'm being serious. It sounds like a joke, but be honest with you. I was with 3 board members at Southern University, and they said they had gotten tickets in our city and they were avoiding our city. That's a fact. So I don't know. I know the police department needs the revenues, but we're gonna have to discuss this issue with the new leadership in Baker and see if there's something we can do about that.
What does anyone else feel? Anyone else have a comment about the RoboCops?
Yeah, the RoboCops, and I just want to say, I mean, that's Dr. Davis's opinion, but I just want to say that is not revenue for the police department. That's another misconception. That money should be coming. That's general fund money, and that decision is made. We need to make that decision. That's a good thing to talk about, but that money is general fund money. And that's where it should be.
Do you support the traffic cams?
I support the safety part of it. I'm in the middle when it comes to that too, because of economic development. Now, one good thing about it is that the camera slows them down long enough to pull into the shopping center and spend money. I like that part of it right there.
Me too.
Blue light special in a different way.
Yeah.
Okay, we have to move on. We do. We only got time now for closing statements, and I appreciate everybody's time. And you can use some of your closing time if you have something you want to address that we've talked about. But let's start off with Leroy. Your closing statement, 2 minutes, please.
First of all, I want to thank the Best in the World Press Center people and the television people and all the audience here and the ones out at home and on the internet for your attention and for listening to us and for bearing through all these numerous and various issues. As I said earlier, I have experience as a mayor and as a councilman, so I've seen both sides. But before I became a mayor and a councilman, I was a citizen working in our schools, working in our community, doing things, brought up the Economic Development Commission, served on different boards and commissions in Baker, and learned the city, and then became councilman and then mayor. And successful mayor, brought in a Walmart Supercenter and almost 20 other businesses, fixed all of the streets, the drainage, cleaned up the city, and did numerous other things. Now, I'm Leroy Davis. I'm number 336 on your ballot. On mine said put in Baker first. I'll be putting Baker first. Baker will always be first in my heart, in my mind. So I ask for your support, your vote, and your prayers. But most of all, this is a praying institution. This is a praying city. I ask for your prayers. And thank you, and good night.
Joyce, your 2 minutes.
Thank you very much, Dr. Fry and Me TV for this opportunity and the listening audience. You know, I'm fresh, I'm vibrant, I'm passionate about the city of Baker. And there are aspects of this city that I want to see work together. I can bring unification in all departments of the city because we must work together to experience the progress that I've talked about earlier. I'm a leader, and I know that everything rises and falls on leadership. I'm also a team player. I'm a visionary, and I will use the tools available to me to advance the city of Baker. You know, we can't look to the past, and we definitely cannot stay where we are in the future. We can't look to the past with broken promises and failed dreams. And we can't stay in the present with complacency, stagnation, inaccountability, and a lack to follow through and execute. We must look to the future because our bright days are ahead of us. When I declared my candidacy, it was not about, yes, I can. It was not about what I could do. It was about what we could do as a community. And Joyce Burgess will put Baker in a positive image because I will be the first woman. We will make history by voting for this woman for mayor. And that will put Baker in a positive image. You know, we just cannot think about going back into the past. We can't stay where we are. We need a total revamp of what we're going to be and how we can redefine ourselves as a community. And, you know, I think about what Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. said. He said that the arc of the moral universe is long, but it bends towards justice. And you know, this is about doing what is right. This is about finding someone as mayor that you can trust. that's right out there in the community with you. I ask you to invest your vote in the future of our children and their families. A vote for Joyce Burgess is a vote for the future of our children, and it's persevering the city of Baker, it's preserving the city of Baker. Baker is sitting on a gold mine, and it's up to us to choose the right leader for this city. Once again, it's time to progress this city. It's time to totally do it.
Thank you, Joyce. And Darnell.
Thank you, Dr. Fry, for having us here. I'd like to thank Councilwoman Burgess, Dr. Davis, for your professionalism tonight. We've spent the last 3 years. When I started as administrative officer, one of the things that I sat down and talked to the mayor about was the turnaround. And we were in some hard times then. And we've spent the last 3 years planting seeds of success with positive relationships. And right now, we can start to see that harvest come up. And we want to continue to nurture those seeds. We want to continue to bring that harvest out and bring out the fruits of labor, which are businesses growing, job creation for our young men and women who live in Baker. We want to clean up these neighborhoods so it looks like the good people. We want it to look good, like the good people that live in this community. We want to bring more rooftops here, housing developments, and we want to assist our education systems to get better. Because I've said it before that there is no perfect school system in this country, and all they need is a little help. They work hard every day, and that's all they need. And so I'm just asking you, the citizens of Baker, to hear me out. Baker wants a lot of things. Everybody wants, they want different restaurants, they want different this and different that, but what we need is unity. And I've already shown after 2 or 3 years that I can bring these people together. I can bring the groups together. Look at what's happening. We've turned the ship around. We are moving forward now. So it's easy for everybody to say, I can see the future, but you gotta dig down deep and understand that it's not about just one person, it's about the whole community. So I ask you on March 5th to vote for Darnell the One Waits, because Darnell the One Waits is the one for Baker and the one for the future of Baker.
I thank you all for participating tonight, and I hope that you people at home wise up, get registered to vote if you're not already registered to vote, and do your American duty, and that is get off the couch and get out and vote, because it is your civic duty and your right as an American citizen to help structure and control the U.S. government and be involved. Find out who these people are. Get to know them. Get out there, out in the streets. You got a couple of months to find out who exactly they are. Find the one you want to get behind and support them. Get involved in local politics. On behalf of WLFT and our entire team here, we thank you for your time. We're glad we could bring you this public service this evening. For those of you that missed Happy Days, we're sorry, but maybe Happy Days are ahead of us again. You never know. Thank you, Mayor Rideau, for being in the audience tonight and your service to our community over the past few years. Thank you, Mayor. And with that, I bid you all farewell, and remember, a better life through Jesus Christ. See you next time.
Amen.
Amen.